So good.
Lancaster!
Welcome, goodies.
That's you.
I'm Jason Mundock, and this is So Good Lancaster. One of the coolest parts of hosting this podcast is the opportunity to peek behind the curtains of different industries and businesses here in Lancaster County and share those findings with you. Today is a perfect example of just that. It's a conversation I had recently with Danielle Landis. Danielle's family has owned and operated the New Holland-based ice cream truck Lickity Split for 20 years, and Danielle has worked all of the various roles that go into running a food truck since the very beginning. She's also the brand and marketing manager for W Donuts, the Akron-based donut shop that also operates their own food truck called the Dub Truck. If that wasn't enough, Danielle also helps organize several food truck festivals each year around the region. Hands down, for me, the most fascinating part of the food truck scene here in Lancaster is the camaraderie between food truck owners. From the outside, one would guess that food trucks are wildly competitive.
Au contraire, mon frère.
They actually see themselves as part of a collective of sorts.
Yeah, we're competing against each other, but we're also supporting each other.
This is Danielle.
Because we know this is our livelihood. We're real people. We have families, and we want them to succeed. And oftentimes, well, almost all the time, we love their product too.
Danielle's colleague at W Donuts, David Hiester, corroborated these connections during a conversation he and I had for our Donuts episode last year.
That community, everybody's like in it together. There's no I don't know. There was tons of events where we sell coffee, but if we were doing an event with a coffee truck, I just wouldn't bring coffee because why? It doesn't make sense.
Why compete? Yeah.
Right. There's no reason. And a lot of people have that same mindset. So there's just a camaraderie there with the food truck vendors. That's super cool.
The rising tide lifts all boats in the Lancaster food truck scene. Today on the program, we're talking food truck culture and food truck festivals right here in Lancaster with Danielle Landis. And our So Good music feature is a song called Oh Janine by the band Sun Not Yellow. Stick around to the end of the episode to hear from songwriter and frontman Jesse Barkai and check out the full track. So Good Lancaster is powered by the Candy Factory, also known as TCF, a co-working and social club in downtown Lancaster, Pennsylvania. ClubTCF.com.
Check it out.
It's time. This is So Good.
So good.
So Good Lancaster.
Let's start with the Lancaster County food truck culture.
Mm-hmm.
This is fascinating. As I've interviewed people for this podcast, some of the folks that I've talked to have brick and mortar stores, cafes, but they also have food trucks. And, you go to these events and food trucks are sort of an amenity. It's advertised as, hey, we're going to have food trucks. Yeah. You should come out. And what I've learned through these conversations is that it's not just some random individual people out there. It's like a culture. It's like an ecosystem. Tell me about being a food truck owner in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. So I would say the start of it is when a truck is first doing events where there is any truck there besides yourself. So, if I'm there with an ice cream truck and there's a burger truck, a pizza, you name it, at some point we're going to go over because it's good business to connect with them, to say, hey, we're here. Let us know if you need anything. That's just playing well with other people. And through that, you start seeing the same people again and again because you're at the same events. You become friends. You can recommend each other, especially if it's even in the same, dessert trucks. Technically, they're your competition, but if I can't do an event, I'm definitely going to recommend, hey, here are 2 or 3 other somewhat similar food trucks or businesses that I know they're going to do a good job for you, and I'd love for you to connect with them. So, yeah, we're competing against each other, but we're also supporting each other because we know this is our livelihood. We're real people. We have families, and we want them to succeed. And oftentimes, well, almost all the time, we love their product too. And so it's a leaning on each other type of a deal.
I was wondering about the competitive part of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it really makes sense now that you're describing it that you can only be one place at one time with a truck.
Yeah.
Versus say 2 ice cream shops down the street from one another that are always open. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're competing, but when you have a food truck and there are 3 events, you can't be at more than one anyway. So
Correct.
you may as well build some camaraderie
Yes.
and refer each other.
Correct. Yes, it's a two-way street. So we can do that both directions, which is great for each other.
Sometimes the camaraderie between food truck owners goes well beyond pleasantries and referrals. Here's a throwback to a conversation from an earlier episode with Nathan Claycomb from Joe on the Go Coffee Co.
So just 2 days ago, the water pump on our coffee trailer froze out and blew up. And so we don't have a water pump. And within a few hours, I heard from Cool Beans Brew, who's up in Lebanon, offering a water pump. I heard from Rubino's, who is a breakfast truck also in Strasbourg. There was no shortage. Derek Eisenberger with Cupcakes by Casey, he reached out both publicly and privately and said, hey, I have a water pump. Do you need a water pump? Any of these food trucks could see us very easily as competition.
Absolutely.
In multiple spheres. We serve baked goods, and we have a cupcake truck offering to get us back on the road. We serve coffee, and we have another coffee truck offering to get us back on the road.
What do you think that comes from?
Oh, we all get it. It's just a world that you understand that you have incredible days where you serve 1,000 people at one event, and then you have days where you show up to a public event and 2 people buy a cup of coffee, and you go home going, wow, did I make the right choice? Are we in the right business?
So that's kind of the business side of things, but then the personal side of things, you get to know these individuals, their families, their stories, their passion between their story of how they even opened their food truck, why they chose the specific name that they did for their business.
Right.
Or, maybe it's a family recipe that they've passed down for Puerto Rican food or something like that. And you get to know the people, the story.
The food truck owners don't just get to know each other's story. They get to know each other's products. Here's Nathan again.
Pull back the curtain on this. If you own a food truck and you're at an event with 20 other food trucks, you all trade food and beverage. And so you can go and get some Mexican that night, and you can go get a burger. And let's say it's a 5-hour event. You can go get ice cream afterwards. And meanwhile, we're running lattes. Part of my role as an owner at one of these events, while the team is slinging lattes, I'll jump on board and say, hey, I need 4 iced caramel lattes for W Donuts, and I'll run them over lattes, and I'll come back with a half dozen donuts. It's so cool. There's not a lot of perks like that, but that is a really good perk.
So sometimes we get excited just seeing who the other trucks are because we're like, oh my word, I haven't had, this menu item from them in a long time. Or It's a brand new truck that we've never tried before. And we're like, oh, we can't wait. And yeah, we would happily pay for food from other trucks. But it's just kind of this known thing that most of the time you just kind of go to the back door. The line could be super long. Right. But if I go over and I have a couple milkshakes, I'm like, hey guys, anybody want some milkshakes, or you want a couple boxes of donuts? These people are in there. They're working just as hard as us.
Absolutely.
And they're just excited to oh my gosh, yes, that would be so amazing. Let us know if you want something. And then we just trade and everybody walks away happy. It's a win-win.
Well, they know you're busy. You got to get back to the line too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it serves their customers well to make sure that you're operating, because especially if you're complimenting.
Yes.
I'm barbecue. I'm going to go hit the barbecue. I'm going to have my lunch, and then I'm going to go get an ice cream cone or whatever. Yeah, for sure. If you run a food truck, if you're a food truck owner, how busy are you? How are you out every weekend?
Definitely. And you get to the point where when you are wanted every weekend, just because you have a request for a Saturday 2 months out, honestly, you have to evaluate, okay, that's going to be a very busy weekend. Let's say it's a Saturday in June. School's out. People are excited to spend money to do things now that summer has hit. And you have to really evaluate, is that event that I was requested for worth booking? Or do I want to hold out because I'm probably going to get invited to a really big festival that's, going to pop up? And that's when some strategy comes into place with what you're saying yes and no to.
And I would imagine that over time you're getting good at that.
Yeah.
The more you see,
and
the more you experience, the better decision making, right?
Yes, and it's interesting to observe new food trucks on the scene who will say yes to anything, and they got to learn. And most businesses aren't going to be ready for a very busy event at the get-go as well. So They might say yes to something that I would never say yes to, but that's a learning experience for them, and they maybe have to figure out how their process is and how to keep their orders coming out quickly. And in those smaller events, or the risky events is what I would call them, is a good place to learn. But
so the old guard's sitting there looking at the new kids look at them going over there.
And sometimes it might make other people look bad because we're not saying yes to everything, and you could look and say, oh, they're being really picky, or why don't we
Yeah.
see them around more often? But also we know that it's, our time, our hours, our days are sacred. And so we've fought long enough to get to the point to be able to say yes or no. And that's a privilege.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, we're just also protecting our sanity.
If you have workplace flexibility and can work from anywhere, you probably know how lonely it can get working all day, every day in the same building where you sleep, i.e. your house. TCF Co-working and Social Club in Lancaster is the solution. Get out of the house, work around other humans in real life, and get social with a ton of clubs, activities, and events. TCF offers community, full-time, and private office memberships and day passes if you're just passing through town. Check out clubtcf.com, book a tour, and get plugged in. Now, I know that you know a lot about food trucks, not just because you like to maybe eat at them,
Which
but
I
you've
do.
been in this game for a long time.
Yeah, I have.
So take me back to the beginning of your food truck history and talk me through that.
Absolutely. Okay. So the real story is that in 2006, I graduated from high school. And that summer after high school, my parents decided, hey, we don't do enough with our time, which is not true because they're always involved in lots and lots of things. But they decided, let's buy an ice cream truck. And that would be a fun summer job. At the time, my mom was teaching, so she had off in the summers. She was always doing other part-time work, but that was just going to kind of supplement.
Yeah.
Both of my parents are very gifted with hospitality, food, fun, events. That's just normal for them. So buying an ice cream truck wasn't completely out of their wheelhouse, but still, I remember being embarrassed. Like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to. I was embarrassed that my parents would be driving around playing ice cream music, and I just wanted to fly under the radar and be cool.
So this was classic, like
Oh, yeah.
old school, the little jingle driving around in an ice cream truck.
Yes. And they didn't do a ton of just neighborhood drive-arounds. They would typically pick a spot, stop there, maybe Main Street on New Holland.
Sure.
Get permission from a friend that has a parking lot open, and they would do that. Also, come fall, they were at all of my high school's home football games. So that I was so embarrassed because my parents would be like, you got to work the truck. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see all these teachers of my, it was semi-traumatic, but now I think it's hilarious.
So had you gone off to college, or were you?
Yeah, I had gone to college. I went to college local.
Okay, so you were around.
Yes, I was around. I had commuted. So I needed to earn money because I needed to pay for college. And I, worked, but this is just one of my many part-time jobs, was scooping ice cream with my parents, with my little brother.
The year after high school.
The year after high school, I thought I would never want to go back to high school ever again. I'm glad those years are over. Suddenly, I'm at every single home football game late into the night. And honestly, even in high school, I didn't go to the football games. It was not my scene. Now I'm at all of them, which is hilarious. So anyways, that was a long version to say that was my first experience with food trucks, with an ice cream truck. And honestly, at the time in 2006, there were not any other food trucks in the area in Lancaster County, or at least locally in Lancaster that we knew of. It was just maybe a handful of other food ice cream trucks. That's it.
Right, because that's the classic.
Yeah.
Like what I remember as a kid would be an ice cream truck driving around the neighborhood. And, just that whole idea of a truck driving randomly around a neighborhood feels very 1970s to me, or 80s. Like it doesn't feel like something that would be just that in and of itself without this larger umbrella of culture. And you're right, 2006, 20 years ago, there was a point where food trucks became a thing.
Yes.
When do you think that was?
If I had to just pick a date, I would say maybe 10, 15 years ago from now. So
okay, so like 2010, 2011.
Yes, that
so a little
sounds-
further out from when you got into the game with the ice cream truck. That tracks with me. Like I seem to remember visiting other cities, and suddenly there being these, like, you'd go out for lunch from a meeting and there would be 5 food trucks along a line, and all these businesses sort of would empty out into this maybe a park or something. There'd be food trucks along, and it became a thing. Like, oh, let's go to the food truck.
Yeah.
And we called it that. We didn't, Whereas an ice cream truck back in the day, we wouldn't say
the food truck. Yes.
that's he drives a food truck. No, we would just say it's an ice cream truck.
Yeah, exactly.
So, did you work for the ice cream company the ice cream truck for many years, or was this sort of just, okay, so you're in?
Many years. And even if I had full-time jobs other places, I would still be like, hey, I'd get calls or texts like, hey, we got something coming up. Can you what else am I doing on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m.? Nothing. So sure, I'll hop on the ice cream truck. We'll go do a company picnic, dessert at a park, scoop some ice cream. That was just, it's always a lot of fun, honestly. The people that work on food trucks, they're not, most of them are, I would say, not just doing it for a paycheck. They're doing it because it's an adventure. You're going to new places. It's always a different venue, atmosphere, anything from a wedding to a retirement party. I mean, we've honestly even done funerals. People have invited us and said, hey, this person that passed loved your ice cream, or they just love dessert and ice cream in general. Would you be a part of the celebration of life event afterwards? Sure. Like, you just never know what you're going to be a part of.
You don't think of it immediately like, oh, we're going to get into the food truck business and do a bunch of funerals. But I guess it does make sense.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if the person that you're honoring was interested in, whatever the food type you're making, or just the idea in general.
Yeah.
So at what point do you feel like the Lancaster scene just started to really develop this culture? Like, and what were you doing at the time? Were you involved with it? Were you sort of peripheral? Like, talk me through that transition.
I would say that less than 10 years ago, there really was a rise in local Lancaster food trucks just popping up. A decent amount of them were food trucks that were spinning off as a result of existing businesses.
Interesting, yeah.
So whether it's like Slovaki Boys, they have a food truck. I think that their storefront was first, though, but now they also have a food truck. There's a few locals that they just wanted to expand their business, and instead of opening a second store, they're like, well, let's make it mobile. And that was a very easy, honestly, low overhead way to expand an existing business.
Based on your experience, and maybe it's chicken or egg, right? I have a food truck, then I get a brick and mortar, or I have a brick and mortar, then I get a food truck. Of the food trucks in this scene, how many do you think actually also have a brick and mortar? Like, is it half or is it more? Is that sort of the way?
I would say less than half.
Okay.
Also have a brick and mortar.
So there's a lot of trucks out there that are just solo. They're just they're just the truck.
Yeah.
Are you looking for the perfect space for your next meeting, media project, or private event? Well, TCF has you covered. Our conference rooms are perfect for meetings with your team or your clients. Our media studio can accommodate photography, audio, and video production. And our 6th floor venue has everything you need to throw an unforgettable private party or retreat. Book now at lancastervenue.com and take your next event to the next level. Let's transition into the idea of food truck festivals. If my understanding is correct, these are not just, there's a festival that has food trucks at some random type of festival. These are festivals that are focused on the food trucks themselves. Tell me what those are like.
Well, I'll tell you about the first big one I ever went to. It was probably 10 or so years ago, so maybe that's why that number keeps sticking into my mind of like when they came
right?
big.
Yeah.
It was in York County, and at the last known date, I think it stopped in 2023, but it was called What the Food Truck Festival, WTF. And it was a huge, huge block in York, and they had 40 food trucks. Wow. And they were lined up all 4 sides of a park block, essentially. There's lots of buildings, but this block was grass, trees, basketball courts, and there was 40 food trucks looped the whole way around. And so you would go there, and honestly, you'd go in with the strategy of, okay, we got 4 people in our group. Let's all split, get as much as you can, meet up, and just sample everything.
Yeah.
And that was, as an attendee, that was the biggest one I had ever been to.
Sure.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And trucks would come from a couple hours away. So they weren't even all local ones. So you could try new ones that you've never had before. They aren't, just typically around on the weekend.
Yeah.
So again, my personality is like, I love food, I love fun, I love events. I don't have to even be a part of planning them. It's just what I'm drawn to. So in the past 5-6 years, I have just known people, friends, acquaintances who are planning events, whether it's a fundraiser for a nonprofit or just to do something fun. And then I find out there's food trucks involved, and then as a friend, I'm just like, hey, if you need help with that or you need me to connect you with people, I would be happy to. Like, because I want your thing to be done well.
Yeah.
And I want, if you need any help or input, like, let me know.
Yeah, you're tapped in.
Yeah. Like, yes, I am tapped in. And if I don't know the answer, I know someone who can get you the answer. I'd love
Right.
to help you. So I had enough of those conversations where there were a couple friends that were planning something and said, hey, can you actually be on the planning committee officially? And if I have the time, I'm like, yeah, I'll volunteer my time. I'd be happy to do that because I love it. And so there's several events that I've been doing every year for the past 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the event, just to make sure it's continuing to be effective, to make sure, it's getting better every year. Once you have a great event, it's easy to just rinse and repeat, like, copy, do the same thing. But if you want to really amp it up, you can tweak it and always be doing better.
So these events that you're working on, these are specific food truck festivals, or are these festivals that have food trucks?
These are specific food truck festivals. And so there might be some extra, entertainment for the kids or something.
Sure.
But
the focus
core is definitely food trucks themselves. Yeah.
Can you name them for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, just recently, we had the Taste of New Holland food truck event, which had 12 local to Lancaster County food trucks. That was in support of their local fire and rescue team of local volunteer firefighters. Also, every first weekend of June, I'm been helping out with the ODC Food Truck Fest, which is the Occupational Development Center, which they year round that provides education for adults with development disabilities. So, that's something, all of these events help something that's a worthy cause.
Oh,
and
that's
so
great.
That also excites me to be like, how can I use my gift and joy of food trucks to help others that otherwise what am I doing for that community?
Yeah.
This is a way that I can help that community because the money raised is going to something pretty incredible. So the ODC Food Truck Fest, that's like the first Saturday of every June. So that's a yearly annual event. And that typically has around 15 food trucks, and that's local here at Stelfer Park. The biggest one I've been a part of is Lancaster's Best Food Truck Competition. And that's only been around for, I think this is year 4, perhaps. And this year, I believe there are 12 categories, and there's 4 to 5 trucks per category. So we're looking at 60 plus food trucks if all spots are filled.
Yeah.
It's a competition. This year it's going to be a 2-day event because it has grown so big that, you know what, let's do it 2 days because there was a lot of people that were trying to all come in on just a Saturday. So we're trying to cut down lines and, spread it out over a weekend. That is at the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It sounds like a blast.
It is a blast. It's a lot of work, but the day of,
Yeah.
I'm just on pure adrenaline. It's so much fun. Yes,
Are you still out in the ice cream truck today?
I am.
You still doing the lickety split?
I am still doing it. Yeah.
20 years later?
20 years later. Yeah.
Do you do the truck with W?
Yes. I'm not the main person for a W Donuts truck, but I've driven it twice.
Okay.
So that's good. And actually, even just today, I got a message about needing help for an event next week. So I'm like, hey, I'm available. So I'll get to be
All right.
serving some donuts and coffee. Yeah.
You're logging some miles on the W?
Yeah. It's nice to kind of be the person that's like, hey, I know you haven't done this, but you want to? Yes, I do want to. Absolutely. Because it's fun.
Yeah. So, speaking of fun, now it's time for some of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Favorite food trucks. Favorite food trucks that aren't yours.
Okay. So a go-to would be Waco Taco.
Okay.
They're local. I love their loaded tots. I think that's what it's called.
Loaded
They're just
tots.
so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Second place?
Second place would be Radish Food Truck out of Ephrata. I love a thing that they have on their menu that's called rice and beans.
Okay.
And it's a bed of like the most delicious, creamy rice and beans and pork and pickled onions and all these flavors that just go together like magic.
Love it.
Every time I go up to his truck, he just knows what I want.
Yeah.
He's just like, you want the rice and beans? Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about dessert? How about the sweets? Give me one.
Oh, man. Okay, so because I'm so used to ice cream and donuts, I like things that are going to be a little bit more unique. Honestly, I kind of love the acai bowls.
Ah.
So any truck that has one of those, that's just very different than what I can,
Sure.
get at any of my jobs.
That's awesome. Biggest surprise doing this kind of work? Something you just never expected to happen along this journey of yours?
Honestly, it sounds cliche, but the food truck scene, like behind the scenes with the owners, is incredible. Like, I have so many friends that I would not have met were I not involved in food trucks. And you can talk about things, basically work talk that only these people understand.
Yeah.
And in the world of food trucks, it's usually a pretty small crew, especially if it's only a food truck. There's no brick and mortar. So you might just have a husband and wife and a few other friends that run the business. That's a really small group of coworkers, essentially. Right. And you're probably related to half of them. So when food truck owners get together, and we have gotten together, events aside, we've had some one-off events that's like, hey, you're invited if you own a food truck. Like, we have some private Facebook groups, like, you have to know the password to get into, where, we swap secrets, or like, oh, do not do this event because they did not hold up their end of the deal. Like, we definitely are looking out for each other. But when you get together and just like talk about the highs and lows, they get it in a way that nobody else does.
So there's just a camaraderie there.
There is. Yeah. And it's normal to be like, all right, the event's over. It's 10 p.m. Okay, now I got to go home and park it and wash it and take everything. It's just very different, especially because a decent amount maybe park their truck at their house.
Sure.
So it's like not something you just leave at work. It comes home with you.
Literally,
yes.
You are driving it home.
You are, and it's there in your driveway when you wake up. It's looking at you. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Absolutely.
This has been really fascinating. And I'm just looking forward to some warm weather and getting out and enjoying all these great food trucks. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Danielle from Lickity Split and W Donuts for hanging out with me in the So Good Media studio, chatting about the Lancaster food truck scene. And shout out to David Hiester from W Donuts and Nathan Claycomb from Joe on the Go Coffee Co. for their thoughts on the scene as well. Hey goodies, we do love hearing from you. Let us know what you think of today's episode, or if you have any fun ideas for upcoming shows. Head over to sogoodlancaster.com and submit your comments. Our So Good music feature today is Oh Janine from Sun Not Yellow. It's from their 2025 release, The Kids Are Back. I'm joined by songwriter Jesse Barkai to learn a little bit more about the song. I'm listening through to The Kids Are Back, late 2025 record. What I like to do is just put it on while I'm working, and what songs jump out at me, I go back to, right? Mm-hmm. Listen to it a few times. Oh Janine, standout track, absolutely, on this record. Like, cool. From a completely objective perspective. Talk to me about that song.
Yeah, so it started out with just a drum loop kind of thing that I wrote some groovy guitar parts to. But the lyrics, I definitely want to talk about a little bit more. So Janine Jeannie is a family name that my aunt and my grandmother's names are Jeannie. So it didn't work as well in the song, so I flipped 2 letters and it became Janine, and it just fits so much better.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a bunch of my friends were having kids around me, and I was starting to see that kind of popping up everywhere. So the song is about a guy who's kind of doesn't really have much direction in life and is feeling a little lost, and then he finds out he's got a kid. And so he uses that sort of as his direction to kind of give himself purpose in life. And yeah, life just becomes a lot more meaningful in a lot of different ways. And he starts to realize why, you live life, why you do things, motivation, how motivation works, where it comes from. And, there's a little bit of me played into that. I don't have a kid or anything, but having finding places or finding things in life to give yourself direction. Sometimes direction's not internal, it's external. So I think there was some of that within the lyrics. Yeah.
I got a good feeling it's a hallucination. It's a regeneration of a suppressed demon teaching me a lesson. But hold up, maybe it's something I've been missing. A fresh focus, a new direction, a new path to, of course, keep me guessing. Your delicacy stands. I'll look over you as if I got the power of God in my hands. You ruined my plans, taught me if I need something to do it myself if I can with my bare hands. Don't just wait around, yeah, the coming never comes to you, but too hard to be found. So easily forgotten to give it all up now. Better learn to walk, we got a long way to go.
Sense of meaning and purpose. Because once you find that, it puts you in your power place. See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. If you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, if you don't know why you're here, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is. What is the meaning of your life?
That was Oh Janine by Sun Not Yellow. Check out our YouTube channel for a longer conversation with Jesse and drummer Corey Paternoster about the band and The Kids Are Back. That's the latest release from Sun Not Yellow. Until we meet again, stay good, Lancaster. Stay good. So Good Lancaster is produced at So Good Media in Lancaster, Pennsylvania by yours truly and Ann Kirby. Follow us online at sogoodlancaster.com and follow us on all of the socials. Have any comments, questions, or want to learn more about how So Good Media can help you with your podcast and media productions? Drop us a line at hello@sogoodmedia.studio.